Today, and in fact, over the next few videos, we are going to be talking about one of the most underrated, in my opinion, the most underrated and therefore underused technique in law of assumption and manifestation as a whole, because this technique, it kind of flies under the radar. It's something that certainly when I came into law of assumption, I skipped over because I was like, I don't want to be dealing with that. So I skipped over it only to realize that I was missing such a big piece of this puzzle, of the reality puzzle, of the manifesting puzzle. And I have come to love this technique. It's perhaps my second favorite underneath, of course, the I am technique, which is by far my favorite, but this is so powerful. And some of my most wildest experiences in reality have come from this technique. So that's what we're going to talk about. And of course, the technique is... Aha, just before we go there, my name is Hedley. If you are new here, welcome, you're in the right place. And if you're back, thank you so much. I'm so happy you are here. For more information about me, you'll find that in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. And make sure you check out my money book, I Am Money, Assume a New Story and Enjoy More Money, which will completely transform your relationship with money and put you into the commanding role of money. Also, if you are here and you're enjoying my channel and my videos and finding them helpful, then please do press that subscribe button. That would be very much appreciated. Okay, let's get into it. The technique that I am talking about is revision. I know that some of you prefer the techniques that are all about the future. Well, I really want to stand as an advocate for the technique of revision. And I know, of course, some of you do love it. A lot of you do love it. It is by far one of the most powerful techniques in law of assumption and manifesting. And the reason that I think that is, when we're revising the future, there's a specific outcome that we are focused on, and there's a result that we experience in reality as a result of those techniques that focus on envisioning a new future. In terms of revision, where we are revising the past, there's generally no specific outcome. There's very little attachment to a result. And when there's little attachment to a result, you are going to be surprised in ways that are going to blow your mind because you're not attached to any result. So when reality reflects that work back, that revised event, it is often at a time when it's so unexpected, it's so surprising, and it catches you off guard, and it just leaves you in the most amazing state of awe. Perhaps one of my favorite experiences with revision was when I was working on revising my childhood home. I lived next to these neighbors, and we left our home when I was 8. So I hadn't seen these neighbors since I was about 8 years old. And I had been revising my childhood home. And a week after doing that, I went to Sydney and I stayed in an Airbnb. And as I was going out for my walk, I took all of my bags in as I arrived, and I came out and I went to walk Dora. And as I was just about to walk Dora, the neighbors that I grew up with, the whole family came out of the gate of the next door house. And we looked at each other. I haven't seen these people. I haven't seen this family for 30 years. And we stood on the footpath and looked at each other, and I was like, my brain just couldn't compute, because I was like, what is happening here? And it turns out that I had booked in to an Airbnb right next door to the house where my old neighbors lived that I had just been revising a week earlier. And it was so beyond. Those experiences, when I have those, is just more evidence that this is a hologram. This reality that we are experiencing is a holographic reflection of what we are doing in consciousness. So when you hear that term, well, you can't change the past, just forget it, move on from it, incorrect. Yes, you can absolutely change the past, because past and future are concepts of consciousness. They exist in consciousness, and consciousness is unfixed. The only thing that is fixed, the only moment that is fixed, is this moment right now. The moment that you and I are sharing right now is the only moment that is fixed. But at some point, this moment is going to move into memory, where this moment becomes unfixed. Just like every other event in reality, it moves into memory. And once it is in memory, That is where you can refix it into another potential if that is something that you would like to do. And that is why I love revision, because it is this sense of ultimate freedom and liberation. And you can look at your past and some of those memories can pop up where you just go, ugh, I wish I hadn't have done that, or I wish I did that instead, or if only it went that way. And with revision, it can absolutely go that way. And here's the kicker. When you revise a past event, what you're doing is quantum jumping. You're shifting into another timeline. And with that timeline is a sequence of events. All of those events, it's happening now, and they all catch up to each other, and then it gets reflected back now. What I mean by that is the state of consciousness associated with the revised memory gets reflected back in some way, somehow, now, in this moment now. And you do not have to figure out how that is. Sometimes you just get a confirmation that, yep, that revised memory has been accepted by the subconscious, and here is the evidence, and now you're on a different timeline. But essentially, you haven't moved. You've shifted consciousness, and you are now playing out that sequence of events. So we are going to do what I'm calling the revision series, and I'm going to do a number of videos over the next few weeks on this incredible, powerful, magical technique. If you want to have a look or a read, you can go to Neville Goddard's The Complete Reader, Chapter 4 of Awakened Imagination and the Search. So that's page 54. The chapter is The Pruning Shears of Revision. You can also just Google Neville Goddard revision and a lot of stuff will come up. But I do want to present it in a way that you perhaps haven't heard it before. So let's have a look at what is revision. At its simplest form, revision is the revisioning of something. It is the reimagining of something. And when it is re means again. So the revisioning of something is always of a past event, because you are reimagining something that you have already seen with your awareness. You've already been aware of this event, and now you are revising it. Now, in that revisioning, you are making an act of forgiveness, because when you revise a past event that was unfavorable, you are forgiving yourself. And we're going to go into this a little bit more, so because forgiveness is perhaps one of the most misunderstood terms, and I want to make it as clear as possible today in this video. So revision is an act of forgiveness. That act of forgiveness is also an act of forgetfulness. Revision equals forgiveness, which equals forgetfulness. But what really does that mean? I'm going to give you a new definition for these words in terms of revision. So revision equals to forgive. And to forgive means to forget. Can you see where we are going? So the forgiving and the forgetting is an act of giving and receiving. Revision, the reimagining of a past event, is the act of giving and receiving, and that act is towards yourself. You are giving and receiving towards yourself. What does that actually mean? Let's have a quick look at the etymology. First of all, let's have a look at the word revision. From the 1610s, an act of looking over again, re-examination and correction. From late Latin, a seeing again. See again, go see again. So where you go see again is in your imagination. And I just want to make the point here. One of the questions that I like to ask, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? If you want to be right, then yes, remain focused on that one memory that is unfavorable, that didn't go the way you wanted, but as long as you keep remembering it, you are right. That's what happened. Revision is enabling you to move into another potential that is going to make you happy. And you are going to have reality reflect back the situations and circumstances of that revised event where you are going to experience the state of happiness. So always ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? And if you want to be happy, revision is going to help you with that. Now let's take a look at the word forgive. To forgive is to give, grant, allow, remit a debt, pardon an offense, give up. To forgive is to give. We're going to come back to that because that is a very important part of this. Now, to forget. When you forgive, you forget. And to forget means lose the power of recalling to the mind. You fail to remember. You neglect inadvertently. So you are ungetting, to lose. Okay, so what does this actually mean in relation to revision? To forgive is to give. And what you are giving is your attention to another potential. To forgive someone or to forgive something, you are giving your awareness to another potential outcome of that event. That is what forgiveness is. It is a giving of your attention to another possibility. And in the forgiving, the giving of your attention to another potential, you are forgetting the original potential. And in the forgetting of that original potential, you are losing the power of recalling that original event. And you are receiving a new reflection in reality. You are getting that new potential reflected back to you. So in the forgiving is the forgetting, and in the forgetting is the receiving of a completely new experience. So the act of revision is an act of giving and receiving to yourself. And yes, of course, it is also an act of generosity to others. But ultimately, revision is an act of giving and receiving. And that act is towards self first. You are forgiving self by giving your attention to another potential. And in the forgiving, you are forgetting. You are forgetting that original potential and you are receiving the reflection of a new potential that you have envisioned. Now, how do you ensure that what you have forgiven is forgotten? That is through the act of remembering, but not remembering of the original event. It is in the remembering of the new potential that you have given your awareness to. You have to remember it. What does remember mean? Let's have a look. To remember is to keep or bear something or someone in mind. Retain the memory. Preserve the unforgotten. We are looking at this word remember more so in terms of the Latin rememorare, which is to recall to mind. Again, be mindful of. So in order for you to forgive and forget, you must remember, which is to rememorize the new potential that you have decided on. And as long as you continue to remember the new memory, the revised memory of that past event, then you will forget that original memory. It'll still be there in awareness. It's not like you're saying that didn't happen. You're still aware, but it doesn't come to mind. The new memory is what comes to mind. And because that new memory has a state of consciousness associated with it, that is what then gets reflected back in reality now. And when you receive that confirmation in reality, which you always will in some way, we don't know how, we don't know when, you'll just know it when you see it, like my neighbors walking out of the gate of the next door house. And that's how you know, oh my gosh, yes, this works. And yes, this is 100% a holographic reflection of what you are doing in consciousness. Now, I want to give you a very simple technique to start with. I've spoken about this before in another video, but I want to go through it again. Think of a situation from your past where you have the thought, oh, I wish I had have done this instead. There may be a memory that comes to mind as I just say that. So take that memory and write down, what do I wish I did instead? Keep it with yourself first. Pick a memory where you wish you had have done something different instead. It could have been like you said no to a job offer and then you wish you had have said yes to it. In that example, you would say, I wish I had have accepted that job offer. Now, the next step is to put I am in front of that statement. So I am accepting that job offer. And once you've got that, go into your imagination and revise that scene so that it matches up with that I am statement and play it out as a scene, as a new memory. See yourself as accepting the job offer. I am accepting the job offer. Now that is the forgiving of yourself because you are giving your attention to another potential that is more preferred. And in the forgiving, you then are forgetting the original memory where you declined the job offer or whatever it is. And now you are receiving the experience of a new potential. And in that receiving of a new potential, you are having a different experience in yourself in reality now. And reality will reflect that back. Doesn't mean that you're going to go and get that job. It just means that you're going to sync up with the sequence of events that are aligned with that potential of having taken that job. What you feel is better. You feel more complete. You feel at ease. Now, that state of ease, that state of contentment, that state of relief is what gets reflected back now in some way. We don't know how. Don't try and figure it out because you will never guess. It'll surprise you. It'll knock your socks off. It'll blow your mind, and it'll be a great story to tell at your next dinner party. So just go through the act of revising, whatever it is you want to revise, and then let your reality do its thing. Do not meddle with the middle. Let reality do its thing, which it knows how to do. It will reorganize things so that you are now on that new timeline, and that gets reflected back now. And then you just move on with your life in a greater state of ease and freedom and relief. It is a wonderful, wonderful, powerful technique. If you're not on board with revision now, I assure you that you will be after this video series, because revision is absolutely one of the most powerful techniques. So have a play with that one. It's a super easy one to start with. And in the next videos, I'll be giving you some more and sharing some more amazing stories that just recently happened as a result of revision. I encourage you to read up on it from Neville. I mean, of course, he is the pioneer of this incredible technique, and the science is behind it to back it up. Memory and imagination are so closely aligned, the same parts of the brain fire, that the brain cannot tell the difference between what you are remembering and what you are imagining. It's the same thing. And the more you remember the new potential, that's what impresses on the subconscious and shifts you onto that new timeline that gets reflected back now. Okay, so have fun with that one, and I will look forward to continuing this conversation in the next video. And remember to leave your comments. That would be most appreciated as well. Share your success stories. We all love to hear them. Have a wonderful week, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.